Hello students. Yesterday we were discussing about the conceptual problems that was related to the chapter thermodynamics, and there already we have discussed a number of questions, but still thermodynamics is very broad branch, and it contains all the effects of the temperature, heat, internal energy, work, what are you doing, and there any change of heat that is there, and also in all types of phases what is changing when we are supplying to heat to it, and how many types of systems and thermodynamic processes we have, what are its applications, and how the cooling and heating problems that you are using. So these all conditions we are using in thermodynamics, and also thermodynamics helped a lot to understand the concept of black body radiation and the statistical mechanics. So that's why you can understand easily this chapter is really very important. A lot of conceptual problems are here. That's why we are discussing continually 3 days these conceptual problems here. So as yesterday we have discussed a number of thermodynamic process with the help of first law of thermodynamics there. So let's see some of the short questions that that are based on the these problems, and that are also conceptual things that we will discuss here. So first question is still on the same thing like we have discussed yesterday, that is so the thermodynamic processes like isothermal process, adiabatic process, these processes we have discussed. The question is that does the internal energy of an ideal gas change in isothermal process, and what will be the effect in adiabatic process? So again you can take the concept of first law of thermodynamics to understand this. So first law of thermodynamics says that heat supplied to the system that is used in two ways, that is to change its internal energy and to do some work on the system, or actually if you are supplying, then you will get some work from the system here. So as these conditions we have, and now first is thing is that in the isothermal process what will be there. So as in the case of perfect gas, ideal gas we are talking about. So ideal gas molecules that are like point masses, and they are not interacting with each other. Their interaction only means when they are interacting or colliding due to their zigzag motion or random motion, they are changing only their path, not any transfer of energy or any loss of energy that is taking place, and also they are also always in motion. So there is no configuration of the ideal gas molecule is there, means no potential energy is there, whole of the their energy that is kinetic. So the internal energy there, that is totally due to only kinetic energy, due to only motion of the molecules through the system is made up of. So here if internal energy is kinetic, then you know that already kinetic interpretation of temperature. So as we are increasing the temperature, then that time with increase in temperature the gas molecules will get more energy, and there will be increase in their velocity, and that will increase its kinetic energy. So if kinetic energy that is increasing with increase in temperature, it means that the internal energy that is totally kinetic, already I have to here, so internal energy will also increase. So whenever there is change in temperature takes place in case of ideal gas or real gas, whatever, so the change in temperature takes place, that time change in internal energy will take place. But in case of ideal gas, internal energy is only depending on temperature here. So if there is increase in temperature, obviously kinetic energy will increase, internal energy will increase here. So in case of isothermal process, as here temperature is constant, then it means that no change in kinetic energy takes place here. So no change in kinetic energy is taking, then obviously no change in internal energy that is taking place here. So in this case internal energy that will also be constant during the thermodynamic process that we are made. So in that case change in internal energy that will be 0, and the internal energy of the system that will remain constant there. Second case, in case of adiabatic process, as there no heat is exchanged from the surrounding the system or from system to surrounding, then in that case the change in heat that will be zero, or you can see that the heat is constant there. So we are not supplying any heat to the system, but still if system is doing some work, or we are getting means we are getting some work from the system, or we are doing some work on the system, in both of the cases obviously the energy that we are using, that is the internal energy of the system. So if gas is expanding, it means that gas molecules are doing some work to expand it, to do some work against their own active forces. In that case obviously its internal energy that will be used here, so it will decrease in that case. So whenever there will be expansion of gas, internal energy decreases, it means that gas starts to cool there. And if we are doing some work on the system, means that time if the gas molecules, there is compression of the gas that is taking place, and we are not supplying any heat, or we are not extracting any heat from it, only compressing the gas, then in that case the internal energy of the system that is increased there, as some of the energy it is getting as its cell energy that is increasing there. So in this case internal energy in the case of adiabatic process, as we are seeing, that is not constant, that changes with expansion or compression conditions. As it here also, you know that in adiabatic process, in a simple way you can understand it by change in temperature. So whenever there will be change in temperature, there will be change in internal energy. So in the case of adiabatic process, temperature changes, so internal energy will not be constant there. So I think the concept of internal energy that we discussed, that is clear. How can you increase internal energy? What are the ways for that? We have discussed these things, so that are very important. That I think clear. Next question is that as we have discussed in the chapter, the isothermal curves. So can two isothermal curve intersect each other or not? So as you have seen isothermal curves that are between pressure and volume, as the equations of isothermals, that is PV is equal to constant here. So if you will plot the graph, it means that P is inversely proportional to P. It means greater the pressure or the volume that there will be. So in that case these isothermals are obtained in this way. So at different constant temperature, when suppose the system's temperature is T1, in that case just we are increasing or decreasing pressure, and we are just plotting or seeing the variation in volume there, and after that the graph there. After that at any temperature T2, we have just plotted the graph. In that case this graph is supposed obtained in this way. And if these will intersect each other, suppose it is intersecting at each other, it means that at any two temperature we are getting same pressure and volume there. So that is not possible. So it means that they will not intersect each other, otherwise they will give the same value for the two different temperatures. Or as you can see that here that the pressure and volume that is constant for these two different temperatures, so this is not possible. So obviously the curve that you have understood for adiabatics or for this isothermals, these will not intersect each other. They will always separate it with each other if there is different temperatures we are taking. Next case is that how the atmospheric air that cools. So the cooling of atmosphere, that is due to, I have told you, the application of adiabatic expansion. Again, if this question is asked how the atmosphere is cooled here, so atmospheric cooling is done by adiabatic expansion. As just before I have told you, whenever there will be expansion of the gas in adiabatic process, in that time the internal energy that will be used to expand the system, it means that it will decrease, and if internal energy will decrease, then temperature of the system will decrease also, so gas will cool there. So this is the same process in the atmosphere that is going on as ongoing the upper height, and if you will start to just go in the height, then that time the density of air that decreases. It means that the volume of the atmospheric air that starts to increase there. So if volume starts to increase, it means that the gas molecules are expanding there, and also we know that the system of gas molecules, they are not conducting, they are nearly behave like the insulators. It means that they are not exchanging their heat to the surroundings. So if the heat contained by the different layers of the atmosphere, that is different, means here the no isothermal process is here. Here the process that is possible, that is only adiabatic. So expansion of gases here, or atmospheric gases, that is done in the adiabatic expansion way. So obviously if there will be adiabatic expansion, gas will be cooled here. So in this way rising, we are seeing the cooling of the gases system. In other words, this question can be asked whenever if there is cooling of the air that is taking place, then how there is the decrement of temperature takes place. So I think that is clear. If internal energy concept you know that, then you can understand the temperature concept also. If there is decrement in internal energy, then obviously there will be decrease in temperature also. Next question is that can we add heat to any system without increasing its temperature? So sometimes this factor comes to our mind that we can only supply heat to the system if there is increase in temperature. So for that confusion, just rub your hand, and after that you will see that the hands that are just you will feel hot here, means that some of the heat that will be produced there, means with the while doing mechanical work, heat is also produced. You know that even in some many, actually in our daily life, in at many places, due to different types of mechanical works and forces, there is a loss in kinetic energy and tensile energy that is going on, and that appears as the heat. Like whenever there is the friction in any surface, then that time the energy that lost there, that appears as the heat. So in this way heat is appeared most of the places. So no need they to change the heat only, means that it is not condition that when you will change the temperature there will be change in heat. So you can add heat to the system without changing the temperature. In other way, if you want to understand it in the thermodynamic, then you know melting and boiling process. So during melting process, means while the system is changing its phase, means when it starts to change its phase, and when it converted into another phase, during this whole process temperature remains constant. Whole of the heat that is using there, that only to work there. So it means that we can add heat to the system without changing its temperature, like melting and boiling process are the example of it. So no need to be confused there. Even you can add heat by do some mechanical work on the system also. So there is two way to supply heat to the system, with the change in temperature and with the change in pressure. So while changing pressure, you can also add heat there. Next thing is that as we have discussed first law of thermodynamics and zeroth law of thermodynamics already. So question is that what thermodynamic variable is defined by zeroth law and first law of thermodynamics? So as you know that zeroth law of thermodynamics that gives us the definition of temperature. So the thermodynamic variable that is introduced here by this law, that is temperature. And by first law of thermodynamics, we have introduced the concept of internal energy there. So as in the process, if you will take the difference in these things, then that is always a constant value. So it means that here a constant value that is arises here, a concept of thermodynamic variable, that is also point function that is arises, that is internal energy. So first law of thermodynamics introduces the concept of internal energy. Zeroth law introduces the concept of temperature, and also second law of thermodynamics we have discussed here. If its name is, then understand that also. Second law of thermodynamics introduces a new variable that is also known as entropy. So the concept of entropy that arises by the second law of thermodynamics. So I think all these three laws and the introduction of new thermodynamic variable by it, that is also clear to you. So as here we have already discussed how to change the internal energy. So question is just a reverse question, is that can we change internal energy into kinetic energy or tensile energy? So obviously yes, we can change it, like while explosion of bomb, in that case the chemical energy stored in it, that is its internal energy, that can be changed in the kinetic energy there. So obviously we are using both the process here, means we can change internal energy by some other types of energy, and also we can use internal energy there for the motion of the particles also. Next is that suppose an ideal gas you have, and at constant temperature we started to compress it. Question is that an ideal gas is compressed at constant temperature, then what will be the effect on internal energy there? So if again we are talking about ideal gas, students, the factor that you have to keep in your mind, that in case of ideal gas, its internal energy is totally depending on the kinetic energy. There is no potential internal energy, only kinetic internal energy the systems have, and kinetic energy that is totally dependent on the temperature of the system. So it means that the internal energy of the ideal gas, that is dependent on the temperature. So whenever there will be change in temperature, only there will be change in internal energy. So the question is that at constant temperature we are compressing it. So whether there will be compression or expansion, if temperature is constant, there will be no change in internal energy that will take place here. Next is that as we have discussed, continually we are just discussing about the internal energy. So suppose you have any atomic monoatomic gas, then in the case of monoatomic suppose ideal gas you have. So in case of monoatomic ideal gas, which types of motion is responsible for the internal energy of that system? So as any monoatomic gas about which talking about, and obviously if ideal gas it is, then it will have kinetic energy, and in the case of monoatomic systems we have always linear motion or rectilinear motion. So if whenever there will be the internal energy that a monoatomic gas is possessing, that is due to rectilinear motion of the gaseous system or monatomic gas system that is taking place there. And if the question can be asked, if there is diatomic gas, then in that case which types of motion is responsible for the internal energy? So in case of diatomic gas, you know that diatomics, if they are just bonded by some of the force, and obviously these two atoms are bonded by some force, and now you can see just like the dipole it, and means a system that will be now starts to oscillate or starts to rotate about its center of mass, as in this case this particle will exert force on this and this particle will exert force on this. So you can see that in this way, in the case of diatomic gas, a top that is formed here due to this opposite forces that are acting on it, and also the line of action of the air that is same. So about its center of mass, F is these diatomic gases, they have same masses, means they are homogeneous diatomic gas or heterogeneous, whatever it will be. so where it will be its center of mass, the axis passing through it, about that axis it will start to rotate due to the torque produced by these couple of forces here. So in this case, if it will be asked here, then which types of motions are responsible here. So first of all, one motion, that is rotational motion here. Again, secondary motion, you are saying that here oscillatory motion is possessing also. So vibratory or oscillatory motions are there, and also rotatory motions are there. So these two types of motions, and also you can see that if you will see only the motion of one monatomic gas, then that will be rectilinear also. So all types of motions that are possessing there, but basically here the motion that is going on here, that is the vibratory motion, to which in monatomic gas it is possessing internal energy. So students, you have to understand the system of atoms or gases that you know already. In case of monatomic gas, which types of motion it can possess, if it is diatomic, which types of systems and rotations or motion it can be possessing. So basically you have understood three types of motions, like rectilinear motion or linear motion. Secondly thing, rotational motion. Third, we have seen the vibratory motion. So in the among these three types of motions, obviously particle will possess any types of motion. So in the case of pure rotational motion, you know that also there is translation motion attached to it. In the case of even vibratory motion, there is also translational motion, but basic cause behind the motion you have to understand that. So in case of atomic, as you can see that these are started to rotate at some angle and also vibrate. So both types of motion you can see it here. And also you have to understand that the same things in diatomic and other polyatomic systems there. So the next question is related to the limitation of first law of thermodynamics and the statement that was given by the second law of thermodynamics. So one question is that can we convert the total work into heat or not? So as in the case of first law of thermodynamics, suppose there is no change in temperature is taking place, obviously that the internal energy will be zero there. Then in that case you can write delta Q is equal to delta W. Hence if we are supplying heat to the system, then we can convert whole of its heat energy into work. From the first law of thermodynamics we are saying that. And also if we are doing any work, we can convert it into the heat here. So means reverse, both of the processes are possible from the first law of thermodynamics. Means without doing any external work, without using any external agency, we can even supply whole of the heat. Means we can use whole of the heat to convert it into the work. So as for this limitation, first of all let's understand the fact that can we convert whole of the work into heat or not. So if we just started to move any system, then that time, so can we convert work into heat? So yes, we can convert whole of the work into heat if we just start to do motion on any friction on any surface that is full on the friction. Then that case the frictional energy or our whole of the work that can be converted due to friction into heat totally. So there with the help of friction, whole of the heat whole of the work that we are doing, that can be converted into heat there. But the reverse process, if we will talk about this, means if this is possible, then with this equation this is also possible. Means whole of the heat can be converted into the work there. And also from this system it is also predicting that if heat can be transferred from cold body to hot body, also we can transfer heat to any system. Means we can do work. Suppose this hand is at higher temperature, this is at lower temperature, this is hot, this is cold. Then this concept is that even if you will contact or keep it then in contact, then both cases are possible. Means no conditions for the flow of heat is there. Means heat can be transferred from this cold body to hot body, work can be done here also. and if heat will be transferred from cold body to hot body, there will be also work there. So with this formula, both things are possible first of all. And also it teaches us that without using any external agency, without using any types of supply, we can convert whole of the heat energy into work. Mean we can design such types of any system in which we are providing heat to it, and it is converting whole of the heat to the this work. Means we can get 100% work from any machine. So efficiency of every machine, that will be 100%, and this will be idle machine. So in that case this is not possible. And second law of thermodynamics just arise due to this fact, because first law of thermodynamics doesn't put any limitation here for this types of cases. It tells us simply that we can convert whole of the heat into work. But here, whenever we are converting heat into work, first of all, how can you convert heat into work? You can use some of the pistons, you can use any conducting walls. Two types you can use it. You can take its heat from any conducting wall, you can or do some work through it while using any pistons. Means with help of pressure and temperature you can do the work there. So if we are using any conducting wall or any non-conducting wall, so you know that perfectly conducting and perfectly non-conducting wall is not possible. So some of the heat will be lost there while you are working through it, while you are taking heat to work. Then that time some of the heat from this, due to non-perfectly conducting walls, it will be lost there. And also if you are using pistons, then definitely in piston there will be some friction due to it. Then due to friction some of the heat that you are doing work or you are just taking, that will be lost. So due to imperfection, due to we don't have any perfectly conducting wall or perfectly non-conducting walls, and we don't have any frictionless piston. So if these conditions we don't have, then some of the heat energy that we are supplying to the system, that will be lost to overcome these frictional energy, and this some of the energy will be lost through the non-perfectly conducting walls. Then if some of the energy is lost there, then how can we convert whole of the heat energy into work there? We can only convert whole of the heat energy into work if we are using any external source to overcome these things, like to overcome the friction that is producing in the system. Means the frictional energy that is producing, just provide energy from the outside, so that heat will be the heat that we are supplying, that will be not lost here. And with the help of conducting or non-conducting walls, as some of the heat is lost there, if you will use some of the external agency there, then with the help of that you can prevent it. So without using, the factor is that without using any external agency, we cannot convert whole of the heat into the work. But first law of thermodynamics tells us that we can convert whole of the heat into work without using any third party, without using any external agency there. So it is not possible. And also the flow of heat can be done from cold to hot body also. And you know that already there is always body or systems, they want to keep them in thermal equilibrium. Then that case, obviously heat will be transferred from higher temperature to lower temperature, means hot body to cold body, not from cold to hot body. So this is also against the natural laws that we have, because all the natural systems that have the tendency to achieve the equilibrium condition. And here we are talking about the disequilibrium conditions. So obviously, inequilibrium conditions. So obviously it means that in these all systems some of the discrepancies also are in first law of thermodynamics. This is very important concept, students, why we are just studying the second law of thermodynamics here. What are the basic discrepancies in first law of thermodynamics? Although first law of thermodynamics helps us a lot to understand the conversion of heat into work, the conversion of work into heat, and how can we change internal energy, how can we use it in different thermodynamic process, what are the property. We can understand all these concepts with the help of it, but still there are some of the things that we cannot know, in which way heat is flowing, and also how can we convert whole of the heat into work? So I think now these discrepancies is clear. So it means that this process is possible, means conversion of total work into heat, that is possible, but conversion of heat into total work, this is not possible without using any thermal energy. So you have to understand this, and the answer is simple, not this long. You can one line question you can write that second law of thermodynamics violated these things, so we cannot convert whole of the heat into work there, because this is the basic concept of the second law of thermodynamics, that we cannot convert whole of the heat into work without using any third party or any agency, external agency. And also it's the second statement of it, there are two statements in the second law of thermodynamics. There is Kelvin statement and Clausius statement. So second statement is that heat cannot flow from cold to hot body, it will flow from hot body to always cold body. So I think students, whatever we have discussed about zeroth law, first law, internal energy, heat, and whatever, a lot of questions we have discussed here, a lot of basic concepts, again the basic concepts we have discussed, as this topic is really very difficult, that's why I have just explained you again these things while using such types of conceptual problems. Now I think you are able to understand it in more clear way. So just end the chapter here and try to practice some more conceptual problems based on these chapters from your books and from any other places wherever you are getting the questions there. So just today let's end the class here. Rest of the things, rest of the chapters we will discuss in next class.